bringing three people together. The particular one that we're talking about here is not just the three people in a group of three, but a consulting process. So we call it Troika Consulting, and each one is given a certain amount of time. So the standard, the basic structure is 10 minutes each. Okay, so each member of the Troika has 10 minutes to present a challenge or problem or whatever it is that they are currently dealing with that is of importance to them. You know, say quickly what it is and what they have done or thinking of doing and so forth, and then ask for help. So here are my questions, here are what I'm not sure about, or here, whatever it is that they want to say. And then it is the task of the other two for the remainder of the time to try and help that first person. And when the 10 minutes are over, you switch to the second one, same scenario, here's my challenge, and please help, you know, here's my question, so, and so forth to the third. So it's a 30-minute exercise if you take 10 minutes like that. Right. And that is broken in three pieces where each one has 10 minutes for himself. So it's 10 minutes, you know, right, for me, you know, which is pretty rare. Yeah. So it's a very, very simple. Very often, people are surprised by what comes out of it, you know. And usually, what happens is that the first consultation is at one level, the second tends to get better, and the third tends to get better than the second. Not automatically, not always, because it depends on the subject, but there is, you know, there is a build-up. You know, there's a quality that improves. People start developing skills that are absolutely fundamental, which is, number one, ask for help. How to ask for help. Number two, how to formulate a problem so that other people can understand it. And how to formulate the real problem as opposed to, you know, something that is not the real problem. You know? And thirdly, clearly, you know, developing consulting skills, which is an incredibly effective way of learning, because when you help others, you learn things for yourself. So it's a very, very simple method. As an example, I know someone who is using this regularly for their weekly staff meeting. That's the first thing that they do when they start the staff meeting, and after that they cover the agenda. So the first thing they do is to spend time with everybody, getting their 10 minutes of attention. You know? And it has very quickly changed the relationships in the department, the level of trust, and the atmosphere, and so forth. It's been incredibly effective for her. We often tie it up with something that we call 15%. And the idea of 15% is that every one of us is very aware of all the things that we cannot do, what we don't want to do. And it's much more difficult to be conscious of what we can do. When we are with Keith, he always talks about the shadow. The 15% is what's behind you, what you don't see. You know, the 85% is what all the things you see
that you can do.
And usually others are much better at seeing your 15% than you are. So we talk about 15% solution, which is asking the question, what are the things that you can do? What is it that you have the freedom, the resources, that you don't need permission, you don't need anything. You can just decide to do it, and you can do it. Yeah. And so quite often in this Troika consulting, one of the suggestions we make is, one of the things that you can do is ask the question, here's my challenge and here's my 15%. Here's what I think I can do. What do you think? What other 15% solutions can you think of? There is a variation on this, which we call the small group consultation, where, and there again, I will say the basic structure, and then you can make changes, which is very powerful. And there, when we do it, the basic structure is with 5 people, and we give 15 minutes to each. So that's a fairly
Substantial time.
It's an hour and 15 minutes or something, if I can calculate properly. And so there we layer some additional structure into that, in the sense that we slice the time. So we give like 2-3 minutes, I think, to present your problem. And we give, I think, 3 or 4 minutes for the other 4 to ask clarifying questions. Only clarifying questions.
No fixing, no solving.
No solving, nothing, just clarifying questions, which is the most valuable part, by the way. You know, asking questions very often makes a lot of things disappear. You know. And then there's like 7-8 minutes, I think, for the consultation session, and that is done with the consultee turning around. So they're presenting their back to the other 4. So the other 4 conduct their consulting session without any visual, verbal feedback or anything from, and then of course the consultee is just in the listening mode, you know, instead of interacting with the and then the last minute that person turns around and says, okay, this is what I have picked up, and this is what I like, and this is what I think I'm going to do. And you do that 5 times in a row, it's pretty unlikely that something powerful will not happen.